In our previous lecture of B.Sc Part 2 in Thermodynamics as Unit 1, we have delivered so many terminology, conceptual of thermodynamics we have explained yesterday, including the various contents such as system, surrounding and boundary. I would like to explain to you once again in summarized form. System, that is the selected device, chosen device in the universe for theoretical and practical consideration, is known as system. We may assume this duster a system here. Suppose we consider here this duster as a system and we apply state variable condition on this duster as pressure, temperature and volume. Then this device, for the scientific or thermodynamically point of view, when state variables as temperature, pressure and volume are considered as that is of a variable changes condition or constancy, so such device will be known as system. In respect of surrounding, the rest part, this one part, upper part, lower part, right hand part and left hand part, this part is known as, of the system is known as surrounding. The rest part of the system will be known as surrounding for theoretical and practical consideration. Next one, boundary. Boundary denotes and is defined as the walls or resistance which separates surrounding from this system. And we have also expressed classifications of systems. Open system is the system in which mass and that is of energy, mass or matter of the system both are in total in equilibrium here. In the case of closed system, matter and for matter or mass will not be directly in equilibrium, but energy or heat will be in directly equilibrium for both surrounding and that is of system. In respect of isolated system, both mass, matter or energy for both matter and energy between surrounding and this system will not be in that is of equilibrium. Also, let us proceed further the kinds of classification of the system. Homogeneous system is the system in which if any reaction which is undergoing in forward directions, reactants and products present in the same state, it will be classified as, it will be symbolized as homogeneous system. With respect to that is of heterogeneous system is the system in which reactant and products are present in different state or double phase is now produced here. We also defined about state function and path function. I would like to you once again to explain in compact form. State functions are those functions depending upon that is of initial and final state, but independent upon path are known as state functions. Path functions are those functions depending upon path but independent upon initial and final states and their variation. The various physical quantities gives you free energy, enthalpy, entropy, Helmholtz free energy, internal energy. One can classify, one can categorize into that is of state function, and their changes one can express in the form of d or del. To define that is of path functions depending upon path but independent upon that is of initial and final state. The physical quantity can be illustrated as work and heat. Now let us proceed further the next topic I will deliver to you today as that is of thermodynamic process here. I will deliver today on the lecture of thermodynamic process in order to explain, in order to define about thermodynamic process. I am drawing a one important example here. Any system which is undergoing here from state S1 to that is of state S2 via path 1, path 2, path 3. System undergoing to start from state S1 to that is of S2. It is performing, it is undergoing by various route, by various path, and the system is now completed as that is of S2 states here. Hence, thermodynamic process is the total number of path, total number of routes, total number of ways. Initially, state variables, pressure, temperature, volumes are changing, but after the completion, after performing of the reaction, the variation in state variable like temperature, pressure, volume remains as constant value. Such numbers of ways, route or path are known as that was thermodynamic process. Once again, thermodynamic process, total number of ways, total number of path, initially changing state variable after performing of the reaction, completion of the reaction, initially changing in state variable in temperature, pressure, volume becomes constant even performing even the completion of the last reactions here. Now let us discuss first here that is of kinds of thermodynamics. Thermodynamic process here. First one that is of isobaric process here. Very important process which plays an important role for performing of chemical reactions here. First one that is of isobaric process. The process in which pressure remains the constant or the process which occurs as constant pressure is known as isobaric process. I mean to say the process which is occurring at P as a constant is known as isobaric process. It can be explained. Now questions arises here in our daily to daily routine life where we observe, where we notice that which work, which motto, which mission, which operations actually has been taken to account or occurring in that is of isobaric process. I am giving to you one important example for the constancy, for the controlling of our blood pressure value which is measured here between normal lowest value 82 that is of 120 which is defined as at the parameter of mmHg. mmHg lowest value, it is the well known example illustration which is occurring at that is of isobaric process here. The value of isobaric process here, or I would like to explain in detail here. There are so many factors, there are so many conditions, reasons which are responsible for the variation of lowest value blood pressure 80 to 120 like panic condition, vertigo condition, stress condition, depression condition and so many other kinds of disease like that is of lungs, kidney, etc., etc. So these are the factors, these are the things which the value, lowest value at 80 and that is of 120 may deviate, may vary, may change. Also age factor is also responsible for the variation of the lowest value 80 and that is of 120. But on the behalf of medical science, by the prescription of medical science and department, these values 80 to 120, by using the medicine, one can obtain the condition of isobaric process. I mean to say, the condition of isobaric one can achieve, one can obtain by prescribing by that is of medical science. So it is the well-known example of isobaric process. Hence, in our daily to daily routine life, isobaric process important role for playing our normal and that is of healthy life. Second one, that is of isochoric process. Isochoric process, the process which occurs at that is of constant volume. In isochoric process, we always remain the constant. It can be explained here. How does thermodynamically this isochoric process plays the important role here? I am giving to you the important example in isochoric process. Actually, where does we use where isochoric process, a general phenomenon, a general activities, a general process in our daily to daily routine life. I am giving to you one important, that is of life, that is of normal, the water, it's that is of a quantity in human body, that is it will be required to that is of 5 to that is of 7 liter here, and 5 to 7 liters, this value may be either of plus or minus here, but this quantity of water level must be present in our human body for the normal or healthy life. But the value of the quantity, the volume of water maybe decreases here in the sense of sweating and the liberation of urine here. So that the quantity of 5 to 7 liters, 6 to 7 liter, one can achieve this condition by drinking that is of water, any other of fruit juice, etc. also here. So it is the well-known example, constancy of water volume in our human body system. It occurs as that is of isochoric process here. Maintains the constancy of 5 to 7 liters in our body system, in which the quantity, the volume of water level decreases plus minus by sweating or by vomiting or by the liberation of urine. So as we realize in the form of thirst condition or immediate, our human body whole system exactly require water again to maintain that is of between 5 to 7 liters. Next one process here I would like to define here, that is of isothermal process. The process which occurs as constant temperature is known as isothermal process. There are so many phenomena, there are so many our daily to daily routine activities which we undergo on the behalf of, depending upon that is of isothermal process. Isothermal process, the process which occurs at constant temperature here. The well-known example I would like to define to you, in that is of a thermos flask, lunch box, and very insulated device system which we use in our daily to daily routine life. These overall our daily to daily routine work, process, phenomenon occurring that is at a constant temperature condition. Now it can be assumed here by using also thermostat device which will be available, which will be used for controlling of thermostat here. T is equals to that is of as a constant here. Now rest part. And next process, that is of adiabatic process, I am delivering here the process which occur as constant Q, in which Q is remains the constant. Q is remains the constant. The process here, I would like to ask one important questions, dear students, to you. give me one important example which is occurring in adiabatic process here. Students, generally, thermodynamically, in its various process, how does beneficial to explain the various activities of our life. In adiabatic process, in which Q remains the constant, heat remains the constants, I explain by important example sudden bursting of cycle tube here. Sudden bursting of cycle tube here. What is the logic behind it? To create a sound here. Suppose this one sudden bursting of cycle tube here. I am drawing here two types of the figure, that is of like one, figure 1, that is of figure 1, and that is of second, that is of figure. I am drawing here in figure that is of 2 here, figure that is of 2 here. Two types of the figure I am drawing here on the blackboard here. In that is of after the compressing of air, in that is of tight condition, figure 1 for filling up of compressing of air has been shown on the blackboard here. In the case of second, suppose during the process of injecting some hard pointed, or that is of pointed any that is of iron body inject to this cycle tube here, what will happen? You know, inside molecule present here, air molecule present here, air molecule present here. I know, as I would like to explain to you, in this condition, the community or the majority of the molecules get together to give a higher kinetic energy in this normal condition. But when external, that is of hard iron, any pointed device inject, automatically the internal air molecule which are present inside and performing and forming important specific kinetic energy after applying external force here. All the molecules try to come back, to form back, but to maintain its that is of open kinetic energy. But here external force is very extremely higher to comparatively internal kinetic energy, and by crowing the molecules, by developing a noise which will be produced in the form of adiabatic process here. Another one example that is here, clapping of that is of our hands based on occurring or adiabatic process. Clapping hands here, you know, the surface molecules which are present upper side on the that is of hand here, where next one that is of right hand part pressed to the left hand part, automatically the molecules present over the surface of our left hand side. When we pressurize, we actually act extra heavy force, automatically the kinetics energy will be disturbed here and molecules release from this space. The density of the molecules automatically decreases in very low condition here, and suddenly we totally listen a very sharp noise. So this clapping, sudden bursting of cycle tube, tractor's tube, so it is the example here. Q remains the constant. Momentarily, internally, these molecules here, you know here, these molecules here try to form its unity, but in this case figure 2, external force very higher to comparatively internal molecules strength here. So automatically by creating, by developing, by crying a noise, we listen a very sharp sound. Hence we can say that adiabatic process is the process which occurs as constant pressure. Next reversible and irreversible process we will deliver tomorrow. Thank you very much.